Mingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
2 people dead from outbreak of cholera as meetings ongoing with ECOWAS to ascertain disease burden within the sub-region.
One of the suspects in the Kasoa ritual murder case, Nicholas Kini, sentenced to life imprisonment.
Also ahead in the bulletin tonight, University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, National Executive Committee, directs suspension of ongoing strike.
In business this evening, finance experts backs claims by Imani Africa and Ghana that Finance Ministry is most fiscally reckless public institution in Ghana.
And elsewhere on the international front, U.S. presidential candidates ramping up their tour of swing states with Kamala Harris rallying in Georgia alongside Bruce Springsteen, while Donald Trump heads to Arizona and Nevada. We've got details of these stories and many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. You can join us with your views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Feel free to visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on X.
We're starting off with some health-related issues as Ghana has so far confirmed 43 cholera cases with 2 deaths recorded. 12 persons are currently on admission with close to 200 suspected cases, including some imported cases from neighboring countries. Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Esedu-Bekwin, assures measures have been instituted to curtail the spread while meetings are ongoing with ECOWAS to ascertain the disease burden within the sub-region. Sarah Penkro reports.
Following the announcement of the cholera outbreak by Ghana Health Service on October 11 in the Adan West and East districts of the Greater Accra region, several key interventions are being rolled out by the various stakeholders to ensure the spread is contained. Insanitary conditions within the coastal communities have been identified as a major contributor to the spread of the disease. Key interventions have been targeted at providing clean water and improving sanitation for residents, especially at the epicenters of the disease. The Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Esedu-Bekwin, says the country's response to the outbreak is in 3 folds, with more focus placed on identifying cases early and tracing their contacts.
We have oral rehydration joints that have been set up in the epicenters. The idea is that those who are not vomiting, we are able to give them ORS as early as possible so that we manage the cases. And thankfully, over the past few days, we've gotten quite a number of cases, but they are all mild, so they are not very severe cases. So if you look at the cases on admission, I think there's just about 12 cases on admission. So which is good for us, because in that case, the risk of dying is low. But then the risk of spread is on the high side. We are providing water to these communities, particularly the epicenters in these communities. And then we have worked with the assembly to make sure that they enforce the bylaws. Originally it was like banning funerals, but we have to alter it a bit. So what they are doing is that if you want to have a funeral, you need to have hand washing facilities there, and then they make sure that they don't do parties after the funeral.
According to him, some of the cases were reported from neighboring countries like Togo, Ivory Coast, Benin and Nigeria, all of which are reporting cholera cases.
Just last week, we had this meeting of the West Coast, up in the ECOWAS region, and about 8 countries have cholera. It is becoming a threat to us, whereby most of these cases are coming from the coastal regions. For the whole of this year, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, they all have cases. So we had a meeting of the ECOWAS public health people to see how best it can be addressed.
The general public is entreated to practice hygiene in the highest form, with special attention on what they eat and drink.
Let's go on to the phone lines now, on Zoom rather, and speak with Professor Ernest Kenu, who is with the School of Public Health, University of Ghana. Prof, thanks very much for your time on News 360.
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers and your listeners as well.
Prof, so far we have 43 confirmed cases and 2 deaths. Should we be worried?
Yes, we should be worried. And any disease should let an individual be worried. More importantly, you are dealing with a disease which is transmitted as a result of fecal-oral means. God in his wisdom decided to put the mouth and the anal region apart. So when you bring the two together, you are introducing a problem. And cholera is purely a disease of filth. Basically, you are eating your poo-poo. And this is what, way before 1970, Ghana had never seen a case of cholera. It was after 1970 when our hygienic problem started. Then we smuggled cholera into the country, and these were fishermen. And the area that we are dealing with is an area that is known for cholera. In fact, if you read the history when Ghana first had cholera, it came through that region. And so if we now have cholera in that region, I think that it requires that every single one of us need to work hard to get it out of the system as soon as possible. In fact, I would say that during the period of COVID, Ghana never recorded any case of cholera. Why? Because there were basic things that we were doing. Washing our hands. Why don't we go back to the basic things that can save us? If we start washing our hands regularly, you will notice that a number of diarrhea problems will go down drastically. But this is an issue we are not dealing with. The other point which we should remember is that we are dealing with a disease which is through water, contaminated water. We are talking about a region that don't have potable water. And so if you have 43 cases and 2 deaths now, you should be worried and ask yourself that how well can we provide them with potable water? The other point which I want to mention had to do with sanitation. The sanitation in that area is also a big issue. As a matter of fact, cholera is not purely a health problem. It is an environmental issue, which every individual should be more concerned about. If we are able to do that, then we can quickly get rid of it. But if we are not able to do so, very soon, we'll notice that the number of cases that we'll be having will quadruple and our health facilities will be stretched beyond limit. What should we do now?
Right.
But the best thing we should do now...
to ask how we can curtail the spread of the outbreak.
I think that the first thing is extensive awareness. Every single individual within that region, in the Ada East and Ada West, should be worried that any one of them can be a potential case. And therefore, what should they do? 1, wash their hands properly to eat and after. And anything other thing you're doing, make sure that you practice the basic hygienic procedure. We were doing hand washing in the area of COVID. Let's do the same again. The second thing they should do is about water. They should get potable water to drink. Now, somebody will say that, but the water is already contaminated. We can do basic things to make sure that that water is safe for all of us. Boil the water for 15 minutes before you drink. So if you don't have money, but you have your water there, which we are not too sure about how safe or how potable that water is, boil the water for 15 minutes. That alone will be able to take care of most of the things that we are talking about. The other one had to do with the hygienic things that we're doing. Look, many years ago, this country was one of the best countries, very clean. But now we sleep in death. Right. We need to work at that. I'm glad that the health service is working hard when it comes to the surveillance, identifying the cases early, treating them quickly, and making sure that we don't record mortality. But it all depends on the behavior of individuals within that community.
Very well,
we should work at that, and we will be okay.
Thank you very much, Prof, for your time. Professor Ernest Kenu is with the School of Health, University of Ghana, and he says we should take our hygiene seriously in order to curtail the spread of the cholera outbreak.
A reminder to watching News 360. This is our major news bulletin for the day. We're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. Now, two teenagers responsible for the murder of their 10-year-old friend for the purposes of ritual money in Kasoa have been found guilty by the Accra High Court. Now, one of the accused, Nicholas Kinney, who was 18 years old at the time of the crime, has been sentenced to life imprisonment, while his counterpart, who was 15, has been referred to the juvenile court for sentencing. My colleague Lord Edward Sari reports.
The incident, which occurred in 2021, finally came to its conclusion after a 7-member jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict for both accused persons. They had been charged with conspiracy to commit murder and murder by the prosecution. The prosecution concluded its case by relying on the accounts of 7 witnesses. While the 15-year-old accused pleaded guilty to conspiracy, the second accused, 18-year-old Nicholas Kinney, denied involvement. According to the prosecution's case, the first accused revealed during interrogation that the idea to kill their friend was hatched after watching an advert on television for a spiritualist who had promised riches in exchange for 5,000 Ghana cedis and human blood. He then told his friend, Nicholas Kinney, who suggested they consult the fetish priest. The priest allegedly demanded 5,000 Ghana cedis and a human body. As part of the plot, they initially intended to kidnap Ishmael and demand a ransom from his parents. The 10-year-old was lured to an uncompleted building by the first accused, who convinced him that he had a video game for him. Once there, he was struck on the head with a wooden handle of a shovel and later with a cement block after pleading for mercy. After injuring Ishmael, the accused persons buried him. In their final addresses, the prosecution urged the jury to return a guilty verdict for both accused persons to serve as a deterrent in a case that had gained national interest. Defense counsel also prayed for a not guilty verdict for their client. However, after deliberation, the 7-member jury delivered a unanimous guilty verdict on all charges against the accused persons. In her judgment, Justice Lydia Osei-Marfo sentenced Nicholas Kinney to life imprisonment, while the 15-year-old sentence was deferred to a juvenile court. The family of Ishmael expressed satisfaction with the court's decision.
Meant to be given so that we go back to our various homes to go and continue wherever we have left us. Mind you, because of this issue, my brother has lost his job that he's doing, his private business, and he's in debt over 180,000 Ghana cedis, which we don't know where to go and find those money to pay off those debts.
Lawyers for the convicts spoke to the media after the judgment.
It is good because the evidence is obvious that my client, for instance, admitted to the offense. And once you've admitted the offense, there's no way that the jury will turn no guilty verdicts.
Circumstances of this case, we can't say much. You were in court throughout the trial, and you heard the evidence on record. There was little we could do. Just like counsel for first accused said, it is a duty of our client.
We can now speak to Martin Pebu, who is a private legal practitioner and lawyer for one of the convicts. Thank you very much, Mr. Pebu, for your time. First of all, what do you make generally of the sentence for the adults among the suspects in light of the recent amendment to the laws that took off the death penalty?
Heartwarming that finally we're able to, repeal the death penalty for civilians, for murder, subversion, piracy, smuggling, etc. A number of offenses in the Criminal Offences Act, which used to be called the Criminal Code. So it's heartwarming that we eventually were able to solve that problem. I say so because for many years, experts were looking at a constitutional amendment, and that proved to be impossible, so to speak, at the time I came in, at the time Amnesty International brought me onto the fight to repeal the death penalty. And so this Criminal Offences Act amendment was my brainchild. I said, listen, let's be practical. If we can amend the law in such a way that we cater for at least 95% of the cases that attract the death penalty, we are fine. So for us now, it's only high treason, which is in the Constitution, that you still have the death penalty, okay? And also the armed forces, they also still have it. You know, President Kufuor did not sign the law that would repeal the death penalty for the armed forces, mutiny and other offenses in the Armed Forces Act. But for us civilians, at least, the Act 29, which used to be called the Criminal Code, was amended. So now murder carries life sentence. It's better because, my brother, the condemned cells in Isawam are hell. Condemned cells in Isawam are hell. So it's better that we're doing this because, you see,
I've got two final questions for you, Martin, before we wrap up the conversation. First of all, I know you represented one of the suspects in this case. What exactly were you seeking? Was it to mitigate the sentence?
Well, you see, that's Nicholas Kinney. And you spoke to, or one of your reporters spoke to my colleague who helped me with the case. That's Lawrence Ureku. Nicholas said he's innocent. And so once, and he had maintained it, okay, over and over, that he's innocent, he wasn't the one. So we had to attempt to, you know, get him free because he has to get him acquitted and discharged. But based on the evidence that was available, the jury did not believe him. That's how come he was convicted. But you see, even after the conviction, he's still insisting that the ghost of the disease would determine who is really guilty of the death of that of the disease.
Right, and very finally, we know that the juvenile has been remitted to the juvenile court for sentencing. Can you just briefly walk us through how that is done and the possibility of it?
Okay, so the Juvenile Justice Act, Act 653, provides that when a juvenile has been dealt with by a court, even if not a juvenile court, that juvenile should be brought to a juvenile court for sentencing. So that's how come that even though it was a high court that dealt with the substantive matter, when it came to sentencing, the judge had to direct that he be taken to the juvenile court. Now, in the same Juvenile Justice Act, it provides that for the what we call serious offenses, when they are including murder, robbery, rape, etc., narcotics, etc., if a juvenile is involved or convicted of any of these offenses, the maximum sentence is 3 years. Yes, you heard me right, 3 years. You know, the rationale is that juveniles should be given a second opportunity to, you know, try to put their lives together, try to rebuild their lives. That's how come the sentence is very low,
right,
so that we can attempt to reform
right.
them.
Thank you very much, Martin Peg, who is a private legal practitioner and also lawyer for one of the suspects who was convicted today.
In more news tonight, the West African Examination Council, WAEC, says the delay in releasing the Basic Education Certificate examination results was due to post-examination activities. In an interview with Evelyn Tingma in Accra, head of public affairs at WAEC, John Kapi assured pupils and parents the pending subjects will soon be released.
Candidates of the 2024 Basic Education Certificate Examination (BECE) wrote the exam from July 8 to July 12 this year. It's been more than 3 months since the exam was taken. The West African Examination Council only released the results a few days ago. Head of Public Affairs at WAEC, John Kapi, says the delay was due to the interference of the West African Secondary School Certificate Examination, WASI.
A little delay was not so much about us not doing anything. Post-examination activities were going on, just that it was going on at a slower pace than we would usually, do. These are things that you do with the Ghana Education Service. As a council, we have our own timelines. But if, for example, the in quotes, the owners of the examination say that we haven't had enough contact hours, and so we want you to give us another month before we start the examination. It affects every other thing post-examination. So that's the reason the WAEC was pushed back by about a month, and so it certainly affected our operations.
Some students still have some subjects results pending, particularly the creative arts and design, but John Kapi said it has been resolved.
That is a paper that has the performing arts component of it, also have the visual arts component of it. Now, these are two components that are going to be marked by two different examiners. Now, so for the visual arts, they were supposed to answer the questions in the question paper, and then for the performing arts, you answer part of it on a music manuscript and then an answer booklet. Now, what happened was that some of the candidates answered the performing arts questions where the visual arts questions were supposed to be answered. And then for some of them also, instead of just doing only the music on the manuscript, they answered also the performing arts questions on the music manuscript. Now, so when it was time for marking, if, for example, one examiner was allocated any number of scripts, he would mark up to a point and then indicate VA, which means that that other part is for visual arts examiners. I can assure you we are working around the clock, and by close of day today, 23rd October, we should be able to release the results of the creative art and design.
He said usually it takes examiners 60 days to finish marking, with each examiner allocated at least between 250 and 300 papers to mark for a 3-week period. He said this year, even though they were mindful of the academic calendar, there was little they could do. John Kapi says WAEC has finished marking the scripts, contrary to some reports claiming otherwise. Dr. Peter Pate Ante of the Institute of Education Studies has expressed worry over the matter.
It's an issue that we have to put the blame at the doorsteps of the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education. Going forward, I think what we need to do is to plan. The whole thing boils down to planning. You know when schools are supposed to reopen. You know when schools are supposed to go down. You know when exams are supposed to be rewritten, and all those things.
In other news tonight, the National Executive Committee of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, has directed a suspension of the ongoing strike, which has left academic activities grounded across public universities. The Galamsey-induced industrial action was part of the group's request to government to ban all forms of illegal mining and revoke Article 1246, which allows mining, LI 2462, which allows mining in forest reserves. But after considerations, UTAG National Executive Committee is proposing an end to the strike effective Tuesday, October 29, 2024, subject to the affirmation or otherwise of members.
Stranded tertiary students can now heave a sigh of relief following this directive, after the unforeseen disruptions to their academic calendar following the strike by the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG. Students have been at the receiving end, facing sudden postponement of school reopenings. The National Union of Ghana Students' appeal yielded no positive result, with the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission asking UTAG to call off their strike. The illegal mining menace has already left devastating consequences on Ghana's environment, with experts predicting that it may take at least 3 centuries to recover lands and water bodies. Series of protests and the strike by UTAG have seen minimal actions taken by government. The National Executive Committee of UTAG has decided that members should return to the classroom.
Despite this, members of UTAG are being asked to affirm the NEC directive or declare otherwise. To this end, the National Independent Elections Committee has been tasked to facilitate this process by Monday, October 28th, for a final decision to be taken on this suspension directive. But for students, they remain uncertain about their future because they say that a prolonged stay at home could jeopardize their academic fortunes. Christian Yale, TV3 News.
And now the General Agriculture Workers Union has demanded urgent government action to remove the Managing Director of Irrigation Company of Upper Region, Dr. Bonaventure Alegibam, from office. At a protest, workers and farmers under the Tono Irrigation Scheme stated that Dr. Aligibam's continued tenure in office is a breach of the law and adversely affects the operations of the company. Upper East correspondent Castro Senyala, who was at the protest, has more in the following report.
Staff of the Irrigation Company of Upper East Region have for months lamented the refusal of the Managing Director, Dr. Benedict Bonaventure Aligibam, to hand over after his retirement last year. Dr. Aligibam, even after a letter from the presidency, has refused to leave office. Members and farmers of the General Agriculture Workers Union, GAWU, during a peaceful protest Thursday, appealed to government to enforce the directive for Dr. Aligibam to hand over with immediate effect.
Since the inception of ICO, therefore, no managing director has ever been given any post-retirement contract. They all respected the law when their times were due and retired honorably, except one man, Dr. Aligibam. Please, we are gathered here today to call on the regional minister, who is the board chairman. He should ensure that Dr. Aligibam complies as the chief of staff has directed. In his tenure, farmers are crying. Why? Now we want him to understand that he should respect the laws of Ghana. He is not above the laws of Ghana. We want the world to know that he cannot arrogate powers of the president to himself. Because the president has spoken and he said he won't go. Who is he?
The Irrigation Company of Upper Region oversees farming activities in the Tono Irrigation Scheme, which is responsible for the production of 20,000 metric tons of rice yearly.
We have a calendar, a working calendar that we normally follow. Since he came, that calendar has been squashed. Rice cultivation is a timely one. If you crop and meet the Harmattan season, you are dead. And for him, he doesn't care whether we meet the whatever climate. He wants his money. That is the reason why we are here today.
The Navrongo Municipal Chief Executive Joseph Adongo, who received the petition on behalf of the Upper East Regional Minister Dr. Bensali Hafiz, assured them of immediate action.
As your servant, I agree wholeheartedly that I will quickly take the letter to the regional minister, latest by tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
For any further action to be taken.
This is your election command center. Let's begin from the camp of the governing party and the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, says he will be declared the winner of the elections by midnight of December 7. Dr. Bawumia expressed this confidence when he addressed the Youth Connect in Angloga as part of his tour of the Volta region.
I have been touring over 200 constituencies in Ghana, and I can tell you from what I've seen today, I know we are winning this election. We are winning this election. You will hear by midnight of the 7th of December that MPP has won this election. It is going to be clear. You can see that the NDC know they are losing this election. They know. Because we have 6 weeks to the election, isn't it? 6 weeks. But today, after being a minority for 8 years, they want to be a majority for 6 weeks. How does that make sense? They want to be a majority for 6 weeks because they know they are losing this election. This election is about our future. When the former president was president, he told us all the meat was finished and we're left with the bones. Isn't that the case? He cancelled teacher training allowance. He cancelled nursing training allowance. The health insurance collapsed. We had Doomsaw for 4 years. So today he says he wants to come back.
And now to the camp of the main opposition National Democratic Congress, where its presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama is urging Ghanaians to rise up and join him in resetting the country. John Mahama made this call in the coastal belt of the Greater Accra region, where he has campaigned over the last week.
I serve warning to my appointees that if you come into office and you do the same things that MPP has done, if the anti-corruption institutions are dealing with you, that will be your matter. I'll have nothing to do with it. They need a government that will really protect the purse, not a government that will promise to protect the purse and steal the purse. Now the purse is not even there. The foreign currency, and I was watching that video again, and anytime I watch it, I'm intrigued. And what he said was very true. He said, if in doubt, watch the exchange rate. If in doubt, watch the exchange rate. And I can do all the propaganda with the economy you like. But if the fundamentals are weak, what will happen? The exchange rate will expose you. At that time he was talking, the exchange rate was below 4, it was 3 point something. So today, at 17 cedis to $1. If in doubt, watch the exchange rate. And now the professor of economics can no longer give lectures on economics. He doesn't comment on economics anymore, and that was the principal reason for which he was brought into government, Akufo-Addo told us. And so, the time has come. I call on all Ghanaians to rise up. Let us not lose hope, because NDC is going to come with a better governance. We're going to reset this country. We're going to reset our economy. We're going to reset our attitudes, and we're going to make Ghana a better place for our young people.
Let's move on to other stories now. And the University of Ghana has won this year's Graphic Business Tertiary Business Sense Challenge. While expressing gratitude to the trainers, the contestants conveyed their hope of defending their championship.
It was a fierce contest as all three tertiary institutions, the University of Ghana, UG, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, and the University of Education, Winneba, UEW, battled it out for the ultimate in the Tertiary Business Sense Challenge version 6.0, organized by Graphic Business. Defending champions from the University of Education, Winneba, who were hoping to retain their championship, lost to first-time finalists from the University of Ghana. At the end of the contest, UEW came third with 72.5 points, while KNUST emerged second with 73.5 points, making UG the ultimate champions with 86.8 points.
It really means a lot to us, and not us alone, but to the business school and then the university at large. Easy process, but the plans and tactics put in place by our coaches have brought us this far, and our never-ending passion for learning to also brought us this far. So we are really grateful for this opportunity.
The outgoing level 400s have equipped the 300s with the necessary skills, and then with the exposure that they have so far, I believe next year is going to be a straight win for EW.
A contestant from the University of Ghana, Prince Emeka Ike, won the most outstanding contestant.
I'm really grateful for that, because it meant that all the hard work, all the hours I placed in it manifested.
Project lead for Graphic Business called for more sponsorship to improve the contest.
Most of the students that participated in this are chartered accountants now. They wrote ICA exams, they excel brilliantly.
The annual quiz, already in its 6th edition, is sponsored by MTN Ghana PwC, the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana ICAG, Glyco Group, Compu Ghana, GOIL PLC, the Ghana National Association of Teachers NAT, and the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission GTEC.
Still watching News 360, still ahead in the bulletin, we'll bring you the very latest in the world of business.
1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply
so 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here.
Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has 2 of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With the power of activated charcoal and lemon essence, it removes stains and whitens teeth naturally.
Convinced?
Well, I am. Just look at your beautiful Pepsodent smiles.
For naturally whiter teeth, Pepsodent Charcoal. Pepsodent.
You're looking for a bank to rely on? Let me give you a shoulder to lie on. We say to bank be no lie. Only one place where I get my eye on. Make I introduce you all to First Bank, the best services in the world, first rank. Customer service, everything is well planned. I make music, I travel, I sell land. They be my reserve tank. Cause every time I know my money's safe. Universal banking ain't in me here on the date. I'm a busy person, me no need time to wait. Now I got to Spain, even when I'm in the States. My me blue shirt. They tell me office a chilling, but who cares? Cause I bank with the best. I'm lucky, I'm too blessed. When it comes to First Bank, it's too west. Everything is you first.
Nobody feel do I'm like us. Do I'm like us. First Bank we treat you first. Treat you first. Think about you first. Think about you first.
You first. First Bank.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
Papa Sammy! I beg if you find something small, give us.
Bro Sammy, you see, no be say boys no one do nothing and just they rely on handouts. Jobs to no deal.
I understand the hassle. Hope they come. John Mama they come do the National Apprenticeship Program where it go sort you guys.
Brother Sammy, waiting with that.
John Mama knows say no be everybody way won't work for office.
Like me.
That one day is true.
Under the National Apprenticeship Program, young men and women where they won't learn craft will be enrolled under the program and attached to a senior craftsman who will train them for free.
I beg you, mechanic day inside. Me like this. I don't want to learn mechanical, but the course no.
Mechanics day inside. Organizing, dressmaking, fabric making, catering, hairdressing, tiling, painting. What they even sweet about this whole thing they say, when you plead, the NDC government go make sure say they go give you certificate where you go fit take go look for job anywhere.
That's sweet. Oh, that's be one waffle.
Another one waffle thing be say, when you plead, the NDC government go set you up with startup capital and equipment to make sure you can start your own business.
Wow! I dey go shopping my town wait 7th December.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
Every child is so unique.
You like no other.
Outstanding in every way.
It's me like no other.
So anytime you walk and play.
You like no other.
You are special like Indomie.
It's me like no other.
Did you know that every child on the planet has their own unique fingerprint like no other?
You like no other. I can play the drums. I'm talented. It's me like no other. I can sing. I can dance. You like no other.
As well as their own unique talents and abilities.
I can cook. I can paint. You like no
every day in whatever you do. Remember, you are special in your own way, like no other.
Thank you, Mom, for letting me know I'm special and for making me my special Indomie.
Thank you, Mommy. I love my Indomie.
This advert is FDA approved.
Is brought to you by MTN.
West Hills Ridge Property, Eden Heights.
Good evening. It's time now for some business on News 360, and my name is Minu. After we'll go straight to the details. Chief Executive Officer of Telex Finance, Joe Jackson, has backed claims that Ministry of Finance's reckless behavior has indeed contributed significantly to Ghana's current economic crisis. This comes on the back of Imani Africa and Oxfam Ghana's assessment that the ministry was deemed the most fiscally reckless institution from 2021 to 2023, with a staggering 90% of financial infractions traced back to them.
According to the Imani Africa and Oxfam Ghana report, in 2021, 95% of financial irregularities were linked to the Ministry of Finance, followed by 89% in 2022. Ministry of Finance's actions have been detrimental to Ghana's economy. For Joe Jackson, their mismanagement has been the final nail in the coffin of years of economic struggles.
Look at inflation driven by food prices, so that in the month of September, when we are supposed to be reaping the harvest, when we are supposed to be enjoying some of the lowest inflation rates in a season, prices are still rising. Is it surprising that the second most reckless is the Ministry of Agric? Listen, and we could go on. Communications and digitalization, roads and highways and health as the top 5. But you have to agree that there is definitely something to say about the fact that these institutions have been reckless with our funds, have not cut our coat according to our size.
He noted it is essential to acknowledge and address these issues to prevent the economy from further decline.
So the hope is that this year would end without the levels of recklessness and irresponsibility that was recorded in previous years. And that this year, if the signals we are receiving from the Ministry of Finance are right, and we have to appreciate Honorable Amin Adam as being the head and they're continuously passing these signals, then we would say that there's hope. This year will be less reckless.
And on to more stories. Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has announced that the successful implementation of the domestic debt exchange program has saved the country a staggering $12 billion. Speaking during the 2024 IMF World Bank annual meetings, Dr. Amin Adam highlighted that the DDEP, alongside other debt restructuring efforts, have played a critical role in reducing Ghana's debt burden. He revealed that while the program has been a monumental success, the government is now focusing on restructuring $2.7 billion with commercial creditors.
We started with our domestic debt, restructuring, and the sacrifices of our people ensured that we concluded that restructuring with about 95% or more participation. So it was greatly a success. We followed that with the restructuring of our bilateral debt with our bilateral creditors. That was also very successful in a negotiation between us and the Official Creditor Committee for Ghana. And this led to significant savings, debt service relief of about $2.8 billion US. And then following this is our restructuring of the Eurobonds. The Eurobonds, about $13 billion US. That was concluded in the first week of this month. Another great success because we saw over 98% participation in the debt exchange. The benefits we have derived from this so far includes an outright debt cancellation of about $5 billion and another debt service relief of about $4.3 billion. And so between the bilateral creditors and the Eurobonds, you are talking about savings of about $12 billion US. So we think this is a very great success.
Well, away from that, the National Insurance Commission, NICE, as part of its initiative to enhance insurance education, organized a workshop for High Court justices. The workshop aimed to educate them on the laws that govern activities related to insurance policies, as well as update them on recent happenings in the insurance sector.
During the workshop, the justices explored various topics, including the different types of insurance companies operating in the country, fundamental principles of insurance, operational practices, and distinctions between life and non-life insurance. Acting Commissioner of Insurance, Michael Kofiando, emphasized the objectives of the initiative.
Insurance delivery has or generates disputes that need to be settled. Policyholders, other insurance stakeholders have grievances which need to be redressed, and usually the redress is through the law court, and it's important for the judges of the court to be updated on what's happening in the industry, so when they have disputes on their hand, on their cases on their hand, they will be guided by correct, up-to-date information, laws, regulations, practices, so they can administer justice in that sector.
Approximately 40 justices participated in the workshop, with some receiving awards for their engagement. The event was organized in collaboration with the ECOWAS Brown Card Insurance Scheme.
And that's it for Business on News360. My name is Minu Afol. Please stay with us. We have more news for you coming up shortly.
Leadership must be predicated on the absolute interest and unification of the people. This has been the philosophy of Nana Kwame Bediako's campaign and the guide of his political ambition.
Otumfo and Osajefo. Edim yenu ameboyi. Emu odupa. Na mu nyina so ya ahemfo. Se nyankopo ni nhyira mama ka ahemfa mo ntira nkonwa na modimu no. Enso bibinti ena ma BBC. Me ba ha ensa me de ba ye no. Me de ba be pataw na me srew na me ka kire otumfo nso. Na ma sre no se entokwa bia na e ba mu no. Me Nana Kwame Bediako. Me say birimiti apetowa mamumienu. Yede mumienu boma mo chefa eye Ghana. Entitimu bia ba na akoye se mu so makyeye mu. Ade a mebisa omo no sa anye ya omu twaneti.
This is a true mark of selfless leadership, and it goes beyond the usual Machiavellian tactics of taking advantage of the disunity just to hold on to power.
MPP na NDC benjina yiri nanna de ye wokama for senya Ghana mamra 1992 Republican Constitution na o hye say ahemfo ye ntimi nya manwa nka nna ma declare say monachi.
Hey guys, so I got this app. It's called Ayoba. It's a chat app that helps me with beauty tips and cooking tips. A super app that feeds me music and the latest sports content. I even use it for my studies. And the good news is, I don't need to use my data bundle because I'm on MTN. Charlie, the app just did be.
Ayoba, the all-in-one app that lets you chat, call, read, play, pay, and listen. Use Ayoba at no data cost on MTN. Download Ayoba now.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Avoiding injuries, easy. Winning, easy, Charlie. But you know what be easy? Now, Kibo Form 1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water, then sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy, made easy. As I be street footballer, Gary at the top. Now we attend Star Boy. Still Gary at the top. I travel go abroad. Kibo Gary at the top. Kibo Gary, he the bio. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kibo 4-in-1 Gary. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
To all our believers,
to the Niger Gunners of Club Road,
all you Artetas of Africa,
of Accra, of Maputo,
of Oimbo,
the legends of legends down Lusaka way. We hear you.
Now hear us.
Obrigado.
Talo.
Betway, the official global betting partner of Arsenal.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Horeku Ampofo. We start off from the under-20 team, that's the Black Stars Lions, who will face Ivory Coast in the semi-finals of the ongoing WAFU Zone B under-20 championships. This comes after Ivory Coast lost 2-1 in their final group game against Nigeria on Thursday. The loss means that they will face second place, they will finish in second place and in Group B, setting up a mouth-watering clash with Ghana, who topped Group A. The semi-final clash is set to be played on Sunday, October 27, with the winner of the tie booking an automatic qualification spot for the upcoming Under-20 AFCON. Well, one player who was part of this under-20 team is Abdul Aziz Issa, who has been nominated for the Inter-Club Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year for the upcoming CAF Awards. The recent achievement highlights a remarkable story the attacking midfielder is writing with his career. Bilishan has more.
Abdul Aziz Issa's latest nominations for the CAF Inter-Club and CAF Young Player of the Year at the upcoming CAF Awards highlights a significant growth in the career of a young player who about a year ago was making the case for first-team football in the Ghana Premier League. In September 2023, the 18-year-old made his league debut for Dreams FC and never looked back, going on to score in the MTN FA Cup final against King Faisal. He took home the Man of the Match award in the process. The midfielder with a skinny frame showed immense technical ability against opponents and had a penchant for the spectacular. He scored 4 of those in the CAF Confederation Cup last season to take home the Golden Boot as Dreams FC made history by becoming the third Ghanaian team in 24 years to reach the semis. Adding to his remarkable achievements was a gold medal in the 2023 African Games after the Black Satellites defeated Uganda in the final at the Accra Sports Stadium. He now plies his trade for Barcelona B, where he joined on loan from Dreams FC in September this year. His name has been mentioned alongside Africa's brightest talents like Senegal's Lamine Camara. In a year when very little has gone right for Ghana football, Issa's remarkable rise and now nomination in 2 CAF categories provides a ray of hope.
Well, it's not just about Issa when it comes to Ghanaian representation for the 2024 CAF Awards. Let's just get a quick overview of that. As I mentioned earlier, Young Player of the Year, Abdul Aziz Issa, his name is in there. And then his former colleague, John Aintree, also nominated for the Men's Inter-Club Player of the Year, helping Dreams FC reach the semi-finals of the CAF Confederations Cup. The club itself, Dreams FC, what a remarkable story it was last season, reaching the last 4. They're nominated for Club of the Year. And then Men's Coach of the Year is former Black Stars coach and Ghanaian Kwesi Appiah. Remember that the CAF Awards will take place in Marrakesh, Morocco on December 16. You can get some more updates in sports on our social media handles at 3Sports. GH, my name is Oreku Ampofo, and up next on the bulletin is entertainment with Anita Kufu.
My head really aches, feeling cold and feverish.
Sorry. I know the solution to your problem. It is Procode.
Procode? I bought some 3 days ago, but I'm not seeing any improvement. You can even have a look.
Let me look at it. This is fake. Let's go to the drugstore. Please, we want Procode. No, not this.
Oh, but this does the same work, and it's even far cheaper.
No, we insist you give us Procode from Kojak. I don't understand why people give this fake Procode, and where they don't give the fake one, then they give you a similar one with a different name and tell you it works the same. But it's not so. The only Procode we know is from Kojak. If it's not Procode from Kojak, then we won't accept it.
Wow. So this is the original Procode. It has the logo and Kojak boldly written on it.
Yes, for quick and effective relief from headache, flu, nasal congestion and other feverish conditions, insist on Procode from Kojak.
Procode, K-O-J-A-C-H. Procode.
This advert is FDA approved.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
Sanlam and Allianz is now Sanlam Allianz, Africa's largest insurer.
There is a business in every woman. And then she works, juggling all that matters to her in seeming effortlessness. One thing is for sure, there is a business in every woman. Introducing Telecel Women in Business, our initiative to empower women-led and women-owned enterprises. Accelerate your growth with finance and investment initiatives. Extend your reach with a free business website, access to digital and physical marketplace. Be empowered through exclusive networking and thought leadership platforms. Enjoy bonus reward with our Red Loyalty and lots more. To benefit from this initiative, be a female-led business and a Telecel business customer. Visit telecel.com.gh/business to register now.
Telecel. Connecting energies. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by
Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Welcome to the entertainment news segment. My name is Anita Ekufu, and reigning TGMA Artist of the Year Stonebwoy last night hosted a glamorous launch party for his highly anticipated 6th album, Up and Running. And according to Stonebwoy, Up and Running embodies his engaging and dynamic approach to music, cementing his status as a leading force in Ghana's music scene.
We call it up and running, you know. We're up and running, the 5th dimension. We're on the 5th dimension, you know, to give you the narrative.
Building on the success of his acclaimed 5th Dimension album, reggae dancehall artist Stonebwoy has officially launched his highly anticipated new album, Up and Running. The release party provided an exclusive experience for industry professionals, showcasing this latest masterpiece. The event attracted a host of celebrities, including talent manager Bull God, actress Nadia Buari, TV personality Nanama McBrown, rapper Kwal Kese, and musician D Black, among others. The reigning TGMA Artist of the Year captivated his guests with live performances of tracks from Up and Running. The album features an impressive lineup of collaborations with notable artists such as Duncan Mighty, Ira Says, Spice, Amaria Bibi, Jamel, Tentic, LaRusso, Kalen Arnold, Black Hero, and it includes hit singles like Jejereje, Memories, and Psalm 24. For Stonebwoy, Up and Running symbolizes his active engagement and dynamic approach to music, reflecting his growth as an artist.
Traveling around and working with a lot of different minds, you realize that the musical scope is really very dynamic, it's divine, it's open, and that tells you that you are not the only person. Therefore, you would have to humble yourself some more and continue to learn some more, because people are gifted differently and they impact us differently. So imagine if I didn't have the exposure, what kind of impact would I get fresher than what I've always had? So I thank God for the exposure. I've worked with producers like Shine from Amsterdam. He actually produced the song Shine. I work with producers like Ginton from Amsterdam. So Amsterdam is like my favorite place anyway. Like I love the vibes and the energy over there for music, you know, and the way it feels. So I think within this album, we've selected songs unknowingly, you know, that has equally most of the production was done in Amsterdam and then in America as well. But the ones that I recorded here in Ghana, I recorded at my home studio that I've always had. So the experiences are vast and different, and there's a lot of learning curves in those.
And that brings us to the end of the entertainment news segment. My name is Anita Ekufu. Have a good evening.
That's all for News 360 tonight. But before we let you go, stay informed with the latest news updates and exclusive videos by following us on Instagram at 3news.gh. Get breaking stories, code cards, and behind-the-scenes content all in one place. Don't forget, follow us at 3news.gh right now.
For more news, try to log on to our website. It's www.3news.com. I am Pa Kwesi Asare.
And I'm Aisha Yakubu Khalid. Good evening.